And last but not least, we have Marty G.
Still morning? I don't need to watch. Just gives them false confidence. Still morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Marty, an alcoholic, a member of Prince George Group in Hamilton, Ontario. So happy to be here. Deeply apologetic for anybody who couldn't get in the room. You guys who stayed in here when you should have probably exited was just not fair. So you're working the system now. It only took you 2 days, you alcoholics. You're working the system. I am absolutely honored to be here. I want to say thanks to my crew that I travel with. I love you guys. I've been having a blast. I've been having a blast for the last 48 hours with you and among you. I want to thank the people that we met on Zoom over the last couple of years. Terry, Kevin's going to be so pissed off he didn't get in here. All you guys, these guys, my road dog Kev, the back room meeting on the Thursday nights. Oh my God, we laughed, we cried. We started at 7 o'clock at night and we closed about 1 o'clock in the morning. You got to wonder what the hell we were talking about. But the relationships, and some of my friends who I've traveled abroad with and spent time with, and these are the theme of the conference is language of the heart. I told a couple of the younger guys that came out from Hamilton with me, I said, you go into a Japanese meeting or go into a German meeting, and they said, why? Why would I do that? I said, because you'll have an AA experience. That's why. And last night, don't do yourself a disservice and read all the threads today. And if any of you pissers and moaners are in the room today, up yours. I'm serious. It was too hot last night. The sound system sucked. It was too hard to get in. We sat outside for an hour. It was difficult. Any of you ever drink in a tavern, or any of you guys been down by East Hastings? I couldn't believe the thread. In 12 hours, the thread was filled up with a bunch of and moaning. And I know none of you guys are here that did that. I know you would never do that, but I'm not complaining about what was said necessarily. I'm just saying that's a hell of a way to start your day. You're going to get up at 6 o'clock this morning and start posting about what a shitty time you had last night. And I'm telling you, that's what my talk is about. You had the time you had, and you get to make up the story. While it's happening, not 3 weeks from now when you go to your home group and talk about that convention. While it's happening, I was blown away last night. Every goddamn flag bearer, everyone had joy in their face. Did you really need to hear anything? I said I wasn't going to get up here and start slamming on the podium and stuff, and I'm doing all right. But I love yous because you are my people. You are my people. We would sit on bar stools and do the same thing, complain about the state of the nation and talk about all our dreams and all the big things we're going to do when we have the conference. Hey, Harold? We got a few things we're going to do better in St. Louis, Missouri, boy. And I want to thank Harold for praying me in. We were in amongst a crowd out there, and all I could smell was like cheap cologne and perfume and all that kind of sweat and all that. And we're all just bunched together. And Sharon, wasn't that like, it's gross, but it's beautiful, Diseases and people sneezing and coughing, and we're all going home with the vid again. And it's like, nobody had masks on, So this topic, I need to talk about this topic. I don't know who picked them, but I think you're actually playing a joke on me. Breaching the walls of the ego. Anybody who knows me from the Hamilton area who saw that in the program said, oh my God. Only you would get that topic. And I'm thinking, yesterday it's like people are talking about anonymity, and there's a new one right around the corner that says a newcomer asks, and somebody's talking about sponsorship, and I get breaching the walls of the ego. is that even a topic? Is that even an AA topic? And I got to be honest with you. People who were with me know I had no idea what I was going to say. I had no idea. And this it's not unusual for this to happen. But Harold praying me in, I walked 40 feet over to a window and sat down and began to pray. And then something came to me that I'm going to share. And then I listened to our speakers, and I understood that, you see, it's Amy, Amelia, whatever the hell your name is, Amanda, whatever the hell your name is. Like, it's always about the message and never about the messenger. But everything she said, like when you're new and you come to AA, like, I don't know, first of all, I don't know why I had low self-esteem. You know, the alcoholic home, vicious violence, rage, anger, bitterness, cops and arrests. But we danced and we played the fiddles and we played cards and drank. And that was the home I was raised in. It was awesome. And like Sandy Beach says, the older I get, the better my childhood was. And so what happens is, at 8 years old, I'm interfered with sexually, and I don't know where my self-esteem comes from. At 12 years old, I have a couple of drinks and my world changes. All of a sudden, I come back to normal. All of a sudden, I feel like I believe all of you guys feel. I had no idea I was broken until I was fixed. None. Had no idea that I was damaged in here until I was repaired. And if a couple of bottles of beer did that to me, I got so sick, but I knew I was going to do that again. At 17 years old, I start charting the course of my life. Myself, I'm driven this way. I'm out of my home. I'm not welcome back home. At 15 years old, I'm on the street, and at 17 years old, I'm in prison for the first time. And that started this sort of where I was starting to understand that I was not well, and that there was some damage done here. But I couldn't stop drinking. I'm an alcoholic because when I take alcohol into my system, I cannot stop, but I will always drink again. I will always drink again. It's what makes me alcoholic. The stories of our lives, these woven tales that come together when we're in little small circles together, make up the fiber of power and an existence that really most of us shouldn't be alive. And I'm with my friends last night at that meeting, and I'm thinking, look around. Look around. And I turned to the two boys sitting behind me that probably didn't get in here. And I'm saying to these guys who've never been to anything like this in their lives, I said, look in here. If just one person in this room helped another person, if each person in here helped one other person, and they helped one other person, oh my God. The magnificence of what we have does not warrant complaining on the World Wide Web or whatever the hell is you kids do the next day. Whatever that is. This doesn't make sense to me. How did I get back there? How did I get back to that? I guess basically what I'm saying is don't tell me. Anybody else hot in here? Yeah. So we have this, we have this beautiful thing. But when Emily was talking about it, she was told that the GSR position, best job in AA. Best job in AA. I came in and I was told cleaning the ashtrays was the best job in AA. And then I was told putting out the chairs was the best job in AA. And I said, well, wait a second, I'm the ashtray cleaner for the last year, man. But now I got to putting out chairs is the best job in AA. Someone in this room, someone here in this hotel came here and put chairs here for asses to go and sit in without any understanding or expectation of why or what was happening. In our home groups, if we're there at 6 o'clock and we're putting out 100 chairs, we don't know who's coming, but someone's life is going to be saved that night. Power of anonymity, chairs, most important job in AA, right? And then you find, oh, well, no, working with others, sponsoring guys, that's the most important job in AA. You need to do that. And then you get out, and GSR is the most important job in AA, you know? And that's just how it goes. We just lie to you from the time you come in the door. It's just a bunch of bullshit. And why do we do that? Not because we're trying to be honest. But it's because we were lied to. And that's the magic of AA. That's the beauty of AA. We just pass it on. There's a book written about it. Just pass on the lies, you know? Just pass it on. I'm coming through my teens and I end up in prison and I have this life where my insides don't match my outsides. I'm scared shitless everywhere I go and I'm violent by nature. This is just what was unfolding for me. And I had this sort of experience on July the 16th, 1987, where I had hit the wall one more time. And I was on the floor of a jail cell. I hadn't had a drink, a fix, or a pill for 2 weeks. And I screamed out, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live like this anymore. And boom! Oh, did that ever sound cool? Did you guys hear that reverberate? 2 ladies sitting in front of me last night told me to shut up. I'm serious. And if you're in the room, I mean, really, I'm going, woo, woo. And I go, could you please tell us when you're going to yell? Huh? And they called me by name because they saw my tag, so it sounded like my mother, you know. Behaving that way. Anyway, they'd be one of the ones on the thread for sure. They probably punched the thread before they left the building. So I had that experience in the jail cell and my life changed. That was July the 16th, 1987. I felt this power just come into this room and it lifted me like light. And I don't say that the room filled up with light. I filled up with light. My whole life I have been heavily weighted down. I had weight on me all the time. It didn't matter. Loathing, fear, hatred, anger, rage, resentment. These were the things that accompanied me all the time. And in that jail cell, poof, gone. And I walk out of there. You know, I make a couple calls, this happens. I go out of there, a changed man. A changed man. Now, when we talk about this topic, I could talk about breaching the walls of other people's ego pretty quick. That's how I sponsor, right? But I'm sitting there and I go into this, the guys, Bruce T is the guy who's running this federal halfway house and he's sitting at his desk. He's got his back to me. I'm sitting down. You guys ever been whooped so bad? You big tough guys with lots of plans. Have you ever been whooped so bad where your tail was between your legs, your shoulders were slumped forward and your head was down? Has that ever happened to you? It was like a surrender. If you'd asked me to give it a name, I would have said, it's a surrender. And I was ready to do anything. New guyism. I will do anything. This big Scottish guy sticks his head in the door and he says, I'm your sponsor, son. And I said, pardon? He said, I'm your sponsor. And my mind goes, up yours. Like, I've been running around and doing my own, like, and how come I don't get to ask someone to be my sponsor? And he says, because you're too effing stupid. Breach. A breach is a gap. A breach is when you gap something. When there's something that's a wall, and you gap it, you breach it. You somehow get over it, you get under it, you break through it, you breach it. Breach. And my tail comes out behind, and my head is, buddy, I'm going to smash you in the face. I'm going to kick you, and I'm going to run out the door. And out of my mouth came, okay. And he said, we're going to go to meetings, son. Every day. For the rest of your life. And I was on my way to a strip club to get a family when I had a couple drinks, and I was interrupted, and he said, and I said, okay. All right. I say, okay. Now, that contrary thing is not me. Find it in your own heart, in your own existence, in that transition, in that place where this breach of the ego occurred for me right there. Many years later, I'm speaking at around, I don't know how much time I got. We're good to one? 6 minutes. Jesus. Am I sober yet? Well, many years later, I'm at this conference. I'm the closing speaker because I'm a big God guy now. I believe in this power, and I got this God thing going on. And I'm asked to close these. And the main banquet speaker, Saturday night guy, is a guy named Mark H. And I had never met this guy. And we're just standing out smoking cigarettes and talking about fitness and what great shape we're in. And he was a big bull of a guy, a beard, white hair, and he looked like James Coburn, dude, and he's talking, and I'm listening, and I'm talking, he's listening. I go on for about an hour about what a great AA guy I am. I run AA in Canada. You need that in here, you just look me up. Like it's, I'll get you fixed up there. And he goes, son, you're asleep dreaming, you're awake. And I said, pardon? I couldn't even tell if it was an insult or not. You know what I mean? I said, what? He said, you're asleep dreaming, you're awake. The ego is the mediator between the subconscious and the conscious. The ego is the mediator between the two. What exists deep down in the dark recesses of my heart, my mind, and my soul is my subconscious. My conscious is what I show the world. The mediator is the one that governs all of that. The mediator is the one that dialogues in my head all day. And guess what? He didn't show up this morning. Screw the mediator. He didn't show up today. And if he hadda, Harold helped me exercise it. And if he hadda, Nancy W. from Ancaster helped me exercise it. Alice, when I went down to see her, helped me exercise it. The thing about this power is that I can believe in a God and I can theoretically aspire to great things spiritually. But the God I understand is never closer to me or with me until it's in the distance between you and I. That's why when we're out there and we're all mauling each other and getting all close together and taking photos when we're not supposed to be doing all that stuff, it's like, I love that shit. Because I'm so close to my Creator. So I get closer to my power. And there's no mediator. Which leads me into my very next piece about where I am currently. I think I haven't unlooped anything, have I? Okay. If you got any questions afterwards, write them on a stone and throw it in the water or something. I heard that shit works. So, just heard it. Not making fun of that really nice stuff, but I'm just saying. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I love it so much that I am constantly going back to my big book, to my Alcoholics Anonymous friends, to my community. See you, boys. Did I upset you? All right. Those aren't middle of the road guys. They're good. They're good. So John, that was beautiful. John said over and over and over again, ego says. That's the terminology he was using. Ego says. Ego says. Your ego was saying stuff when you were waiting outside the doors to come in here. And then you would respond with it by saying to your partner, this is bullshit. I don't know why I come so early. This guy better be good. It's fucking hot out here. Your ego starts unraveling a tale to create the discomfort in you that will separate you from even hearing a message. A beautiful message from Emily, a beautiful message from John. You'll be separated from that. And it's like the power of this ego is in its storytelling. I'm a Sandy B guy, just the way I am. And the ego is that voice in your head that just said, what voice? That's the ego. And it's with you all the time. It took on the event last night. It's taken on the street. It's your long Starbucks. It's taken on the prices. You go in to get a sandwich. It's $300. It's like American, which is like 700 Canadian. And so it's giving you a story. It wants to unravel your experience. So in step 6 and 7, I'm introduced to a concept that I had never heard of. A concept that I was never aware of. And that's what I get asked to go around and speak about is now. Now. That is a time frame and a concept and an idea and a theory and it's now. There isn't anything else. There's only right now. Right now. So when I say to people, 22 minutes? Oh, you did it twice. I learned a long time ago, all you got to do is just not look at the timekeeper. When I spoke at the ORC one time, they had these things you hold up, right? And they put them underneath my podium. So I started pulling out my own time things, and I was going backwards. 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It was getting longer. But this is what I wanted to really come here and talk to you about. The now. Right here, right now. If I said to you in this crowd, right here, right now, what's your problem? Thank you. Who said that? Yeah, you've heard this before. No. You don't have any problems right here, right now. Would you agree? Is there anybody that disagrees with that? One guy, I was in my back room at the Prince George group, and he was actually gambling while the meeting was going on and lost 50 grand while I was talking when I said, you don't have any problems. And he goes, well, I just lost 50K. And I said, that's a problem. But the idea here is this. This is the simplicity of what it is that we're talking about, is breaching the walls of the ego. This is the simplicity of it. Right here, right now, you do not have a problem. But some of you right now, your ego is rushing to the forefront to tell you what your problems are. I got to get to the airport. I have to be escorted for a squirt. It's telling you the story about why right here, right now is a mess. Because you can't stay in the now. The ego pulls you out of the now. And my daughter Sarah hangs herself, and I get the news on a phone call. And I lose my shit. I smash the inside of my car, and I'm desperately enraged because I do this for you. Who's talking? Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. I can shut a room up when I tell that story. Doesn't matter whether I broke a nail or whether I lost my job or whether I drove my car into a telephone pole. It doesn't matter the circumstances. When I am disturbed, no matter what the cause, there's something wrong with me. Right here, right now, everything is beautiful. And the ego rushes up to tell you why your life's a mess and why you need to worry about stuff. My boy is so tied into his anxieties. It's awful to watch him suffer with his anxieties about what's to come. And most of it's insane and doesn't even exist. And I'm saying that to the people here who that's what's going on for you. The breaching the walls of the ego is by cleaning the ashtrays, setting up the chairs, and taking the direction you're given. When he said to me, I'm your sponsor, son, God entered the room. And I said, okay. The tail went back between my legs and my head went back down. For the next 5 years, I was in that sponsor's back pocket, taking every single direction he gave me. And that is the God's honest truth. It was all bad direction, but I took all the direction he gave me. And I stayed sober. And I fell in love with AA. I fell in love with AA. And this, again, I don't know, people think I'm a little too full of self-esteem. Maybe there's a little too much. I don't know where that came from. I don't disagree. But I really dig myself. I like me. And I can tell you guys that because, fuck, you like me too. You know? So we're on the same page. No argument there, you know? Preaching. Preaching means to gap, to smash, to get in there. I go into the new guy. I go into the new guy just like Martin did with me. And I help set him free by breaching the ego, by breaching the walls that we use to defend ourselves. How do you do that? Tell the guy the truth, eh, Jewel? Tell the gal the truth. Don't mollycoddle people. And the reason I talked about the situation with Mark says you're asleep, dreaming you're awake. We got this thing in AA that caught up in a little last few years about, no judgment. Judgment is bad. I'm not sure where that horseshit came from. I really don't. Nobody judged me as harshly as Mark did having a cigarette outside of a conference. He didn't know me. He didn't even know me. And he says, you're asleep, dreaming you're awake. The grandest judgment of my life. You're asleep, dreaming you're awake. And then he took me through the steps in a hotel room. And I'm telling you something, my life changed. Why would I talk about anything else? And in this moment, right here, right now, come on, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, come on. It's hot in here, we're an hour in. I'm done. Anybody who came here to hear that craziness is, you need to get your head checked. There's a lot of great meetings coming up. Have some fun with each other, and thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, Marty, John, and Emily. We're going to close with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.